Hi guys, good afternoon. I'm going to be taking a look at some bird effigies today, but first I want to show you this large spear point. I think it's made of a pottery, could be a granite, but it is shaped like a spear point, and you can actually see that there's kind of like a rifling on it as well. See how it's dulled down. So most of the weapons and things that are found here at this site are ceremonial pieces, and many of them are broken or made to not be deadly anymore, so to speak. Take a look at some of these abstract bird effigies. I'm going to show you several of these. These just look like rocks, but if you look closely, you'll notice that there is a common theme here. You can see the beak, how the head is a little bit wider, and it's got this huge wide tail. It's also a bird facing this way as well, but the theme that we're going to be focusing on is this sharp beak and this wild tail. Believe it or not, this is the same type of bird. I'll show you several of these here. So a lot of people pick these up and they're not exactly sure what they are. And that happens. That happened to me for quite a while too, until I started picking up on it. And if you look closely on this one on the left, you can see the eye carved in there, and of course that little tiny beak sticking out again. So this is an archaic or Paleolithic style of art, and these are representing birds. Go ahead and take a look at one more type here. This is another type where it has this little diamond or triangle. I'm not sure if it represents the head or the tail, but it is another bird effigy. This is also a pretty decent little totem man with his mouth right there, and then I believe his eye is up in here. But he's a pretty decent little totem man. But this is another archetype, perhaps of a duck. I'm not exactly sure, but you guys have seen a lot of the crystal here, and I'll take you over there to show you those crystals. Of course, you guys have seen these chickens before. This is another type or meme of ancient people. You can see how the face is red and the beak is, so he's like looking behind him. You can see that that is a full chicken. And of course, we have this pottery style chicken, which is really neat. I've shown these a couple times, guys, so I'll just breeze over them really quickly. Then, of course, you guys see this big bird effigy too. This is just a full bird with its beak and its eye carved in there. I'll flip it around for you so you can see that it may have been a tool at one time, some type of hatchet or pick, but it is just a full bird effigy, as you can see. Very large one, actually. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few more of those diamond squared heads that I was telling you about. This is another small little bird effigy, and you can see how they use the natural inclusions of the stone there. I've got lots of them to show you guys. This perhaps could be a penguin or just a bird just standing up. And before we move over to the other side of the room here, take a look at this. It's going to be kind of hard to see. This is a piece of pottery. You can see how it's very flat right there. There is actually an arrowhead embossed, like a traditional arrowhead with the tabs and everything. This is the only modern style arrowhead that I found out there. I'll try to catch it on camera there so you can see, but this is a piece of pottery with the only thing that's left is the arrowhead embossed there. Now the other side you can see is burnt there. All right, let's go ahead and move over here and I'll show you some more of these crystal heads. These crystal bird heads with this diamond that we talk about. Go ahead and grab this gateway style piece real quick to show you as well. So this is, again, the same bird here. This time you can see the bird's beak, the head is separated, the bird's eye, and it's like he's grooming himself. You know, he's putting his head, or maybe he's sleeping, right? That's what birds do. They turn their heads down and put them underneath their wings, or they clean themselves. And that's what this is representing here. So if you look closely, you can see the bird head, just the little square bird head right here. And then the rest of this is the wing. You can see how that is a wing there. So let's go ahead and take a look at some larger crystal pieces here that have that square again. Just like that one that we were talking about there, they oftentimes have this little diamond here. So it doesn't look like a bird, it is a meme. It is an ancient meme representing a bird. It's also several other things. But the meme of the birds oftentimes has this little crystal diamond here. Or the square diamond rather, pardon me. Here is a fired piece of white quartz. You can see how there is still clay burnt on here. So they put this clay on here to represent wings and different parts of the body. And again, you can see how the bird's head would be right here and the tail down here. You can see how it ripples. It even has its wing. Looking closely, you can see these. So this is a very neat piece. It's also a very neat face stone as well, with a person with a headdress on. So sending out some more emails again. This is a good example of that carving, or that clay pack rather. So that clay pack is meant to be there. It's meant to represent things. If you look closely, you can see the eye and the eyebrow and the ridges and things on there. There's also some color, it looks like, in here. So it's a very pretty piece. And as we tilt it, more and more images and things will come out. And you can see how the clay was kind of put on there as a guide a little bit. There's a really nice nose portrait right here of a person. And then you can see how, let me get it focused for us there. See how those little lips poke out and the eye is left open there. There's also a red one there. So pick your eye, and several different portraits on this. It's really neat. So if I haven't lost half of you guys already, there's the red eye in the nose, the mouth. It's a little weird, sure. It's a little weird, but this is what we have out here. This is archaic or Paleolithic art. So I've got several more of those to show you, but let's go ahead and take a look at a few other pieces today. So we'll go back to some high level stuff. If you guys would like to join me for that, we'll go ahead and take a look at some of these higher level stones as well today. Let's start off with this piece. This is a very different piece. This piece wasn't found at the site. This is a piece that was found in Nevada. So out there they had the Paiute people. And you can see how this is like maybe a signal stone. Has lots of mica on it, and it will flash right at us and reflect pretty well. Large chunks were left as inclusions. And with these types of stones, I noticed that the reflections in the area in which they all will come out at the same time produce different images. So say this could be an image, you know, different angles, this could be an image. So the different specks that light up will produce different images. These were the TVs of ancient times. And so you can see how that would be appealing to somebody who's never seen a TV, or you know, this is like a special effect, right? A special effect on a rock. So it's very cool. It does have portraits on it too. It's a little bit high level, but that's okay. That's what we're doing today, is a little bit of high level stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look at it and see if we can see. There could be a mammoth here. So just looking at this section, you can see the head and the carving for the eye there. Let me go ahead and get our focus right and zoom in just a hair. There we go. So that we can see the eye there. I'm going to zoom back out. A little too close there, right? But I believe that this could be an elephant, or a mammoth rather. And that's really telling the age of some of this stuff. This is a really neat one. I found this way before I knew about any of this kind of art. And like I said, this is found on the complete other side of the country, so I'm not going to be looking for birdmen necessarily on this, because there might not be birdmen out there. I'm not so sure if birdmen made it out to the West Coast. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. This is another elephant here, or mammoth. You can see how he's got this snout and the eye carved in there. Maybe several different mammoths. It is also several different other things too. Go ahead and take a look at this. Right here you can see the lashes for this person. So there's the eye and the 1, 2, 3, 4 lashes right here. And the way that these work, you can see how the eye would be there, and you can tilt the person away so that they're looking away from you. This is a common style that's out here. And we can flip this over in different ways, and we'll find some more different images. Different size portraits. You want to keep an eye out for different sizes. Sometimes it's the whole stone. Sometimes it's just a section of the stone, as you guys probably know. This one does have lots of cuts and things in it. Perhaps has a hole through there as well. Have to clean that out a little bit to find out. Lots of hats and things. Looks like perhaps a bird. Oh, lots of cool stuff on this one. We can take a look at some more defined ones here. Let's go ahead and find some. So here we have a portrait of a person painted on a stone. Okay, so there is an eye and a nose and an open mouth. It is abstract and obscure because this is going to be several other things. But if you look closely, there's a faint portrait painted on this piece of white quartz. This quartz is white, but it is painted with several different colors and things on it. So what we'll do is we'll zoom out, and I'm going to kind of just look at a few of these with you, and we'll see if we can find any photorealistic portraits. I know we have lots of new subscribers now, and so I'm going to go ahead and do another video right after this one showing you guys the very defined portraits, things that we've already kind of gone through and figured out together. This one's a tough one to interpret. It is a high level one. But if you look closely on that paint, you can see that there is a character or an image painted on here. We look at the black section for a face as well. I believe I'm catching the profile with the brown hair right here. Hard to say though. You really have to study these, keep them around, and that's how we learn how to see them. You can see there's a brown image there, and what I'm seeing is the eye. So I know that there is a character or portrait placed in here. And when we tilt it, you can see how that hole for that eye and how the details for that eye get a little bit clearer. Oh. Very neat piece, very neat. We'll try to pick up some light ones today, guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at a few more. Let's take a look at this one here. This is a piece of crystal. It may be Squirrel Girl. Let's take a look at it and see if we can find any of the repeating motifs. It's a very beautiful stone. Look for gold in these. These pieces of crystal that have the green in them oftentimes have lots of gold. Here we can see that there's going to be a portrait on here. I'm sorry for the focus. It doesn't seem like it's wanting to focus very well for me, so I apologize for that. So looking into that eye there, the green eye, you can see how once we get it pointed the right way, it does flash. I'm not making the perfect portrait here yet, but there is a small portrait in there. I believe that's probably it. You got to get the nose and the eyes to poke out there. There's lots of things on this. Let's go ahead and just take a look around on it and turn it slowly. So you can see how these are white pieces, of course. All these gateway pieces behind me are the same, but these are painted. You guys are seeing the left side profile here with the little nose sticking out. There's just a white crystal portrait right here as well, with some green hair, it looks like. You can see how when we tilt it, that eye, which is right there, becomes more darker and defined. You can see a little indentation for lips and the chin coming out. This is how this art works. They found a way to make several different images on one stone. Really like the color of these. Let's go ahead and interpret this one as well. This is a oldie but a goodie. Another piece of white quartz that has a painted big orange eye on it. It's probably several other things, but the main crude picture that I see right here is this one, painted on. There are actually, if you look closely into the yellow or orange, there's possibly a bird there. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one a little closer. On the back of this, I believe it's a bird, a cardinal, perhaps a buffalo, perhaps both. It's a very nice one. So you can see how thick this paint is. The paint is actually just so thick on there. It almost looks woolly, but you can see how there's a cardinal crest here. And then the beak would be right there. And several of the characters as well here. So whenever you see that nose poking out, you just look for that eye, and then you look for the little indentation for the lips. It's got a large headdress on, more than likely with the third eye in it. This one's starting to break apart. Let's go ahead and put him down. Take a look at this one here. Same kind of style. Perhaps made from, by the same people. Several of these have large painted in images. Let's go ahead and take a look at those now. So for this one, I can see that there'll be a left side portrait. It's a nice eye for the right side here. Perhaps triangle head archetype. I don't think so. It's just another character or image. Very neat. This probably represents a full bird head here with a recession for the beak. Very detailed piece, high level pieces. Such a high level that they just look like rocks, which is the dilemma that we find ourselves in. Let's go take a look at this one. This one has a lot going on with it. Let's just go ahead and let you guys interpret this as you can. Excellent. So the character that I'm seeing over here, it's hard to say. We'll just take that one for what it is. Let's go ahead and switch gears and take a look at this one here. This one has lots of carvings and etchings on it. And we'll move it around a little bit so you can see. If you look closely, you'll see the circle with the X in it. This is a common motif in the Southeastern Ceremonial Complex, or the SECC. It turned into the swastika at some point in time, but the circle with the X through it is representing the 4 directions. This stone has etchings and carvings all over it. As we spoke about before, Hitler tried to steal the swastika and make it his own because it was a worldwide emblem. And so everyone's trying to rewrite history, even our own country. Something that this artist made me realize is that our country has been in existence for 3 people. 3 people ago is when all this started. And so to think that this place wasn't inhabited by people before us is kind of silly. And when I started finding all this, and they all say that these are just rocks, I start to really question what our motives are here in doing that. It's a lot of questions, for sure. This is a fellow with a top hat on. He's got this hat. And you can see his little inclusion there for his eye for the right side profile. And very cool. A very neat one. Let's take a look at a smaller piece here. This is a small little portrait of a person in here with a larger headdress. Shadows aren't really set up for him too well. If you look closely, you'll be able to tell that this is a small little statue. There's several different images on it. You can see these layers. Perhaps the elephant is represented here, the mammoth as well. Let's go take a look at this little one here. This is a nice one. Of course, you can see how the face here is smooth with the little nose poking out, and you'll have an eye there. You look closely where that eye is, you can see how the center of it there, and then it bursts out like a sun. When we get it just right, you'll see a small little ripple or indentation for lips. Also some paint on here. Take a look at some of the paint. Again, with that left side portrait, you can see how the nose and then the mouth is rippled right there. Perhaps the eyes right there. Okay guys, I think that's probably just about it for right now. I'm going to go ahead and take you guys inside and show you some of the more common ones. We'll just go ahead and try to look at some of these real quick. You can see how there is a bird here with a carved in eye, the beak there. Might be seeing different things as well. There's a person in here. We have a multi-dimension 3D eye here, so you can see how when you put those together, they'll match up and make an eye for a character. This is turning into a nice one here. I'm seeing this square, which is more than likely a larger headdress. So we're going to look at the right side profiles now. I look for the face in the dark section here, and the rest of this being hair. If you guys aren't seeing it, I understand it takes a while to learn this style of art. It's not just cut and dry, super easy. It could be very, very old. So you can see how these holes are dug in here, very deep holes for these people. If you look at where that hole would be, we can make a 3D eye. You see how there's little, it all lines up perfectly to make a portrait of a human being. This is the way that the art works. It's a 3D style of art. If you look closely right here, there's a circle. You can see how the portraits are changing, right? 3D portraits are getting different. It's changing into different people. And you can see how this becomes like a hair that's coming back. You can see the line denoting the hair. And of course the eye and the nose right here. You know, the eye's right in there. So let's go ahead and back that up again, and we'll show how we can line things up and create different images with this. look into the eye, you'll be able to see that there are little holes and things in there. Little embellishments for the details for the eye. They're all protected underneath inside that little cave. If you look closely at the carvings and things, you'll be able to see that again, this is another head in several directions, the open mouth and the nose sticking out with the eye carved in. Maybe seeing the eye in a different spot because there are several different ones. So you guys can see why I kind of stay away from some of the high level stuff, because it gets very abstract and hard to see, especially if you're not used to it. But every now and then, whenever we're looking through these, we find another photorealistic portrait. So I believe it's worth the time to take a good look at these. So we're looking at some of the same motifs there with lots of holes, nose, cheekbone, chin lines. This one has portraits and things all over it. So as we tilt it, you can see how the nose and the chin and the jawline, perhaps the eyes carved in right there, pretty low. Let's go ahead and flip this one over. Okay guys, I think that's it for right now. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.